Okay, hello. It's an awkward intro, I know, but I am getting used to it. I have a cup of tea in my beautiful mug here, and I actually wanted to go through all the books that I have read last year. Last year was a sort of hectic year for me. I had to defend my master thesis. I didn't know what's going on in my life. I went through kind of like a partial breakup. It was terrible. So I didn't have a chance to read that many books. And the problem is that like even with the books that I have been reading, I didn't review them. I didn't like write a review for them on Goodreads. It's been just me giving some stars to them and just passing by. So I have completely forgotten about all of the books that I have read, kind of. And the problem is that like I feel some of them I don't even remember, even the 5-star ones. So I want to go through the books of last year today and then see what is the impression that I do remember, and if I can give a bit of like a recap for me as well, and also seeing that if I can give a review, if like for example a book was really that good that did stick on my mind, then it's probably a good one. So I do have my Goodreads page open here, and I have all the books that I have. Like it was just 15 books, so not that many, but yeah, let's go through them one by one. Book number one was Just for the Summer. I actually have given it 5 stars, but to be fair, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember there were some commitment issues from the girl's side, and probably there were some problems with her family, but honestly, like, I don't remember anything at all. Now that I'm reading the premise, I do have some vague pictures of there was a curse, like a hypothetical curse of Justin, who's like, it's the curse is like if they date someone, the second date would actually find their soulmate, so they won't actually continue after the second date. And there was a girl who had the same problem, so they planned to go on a date. But to be honest, I don't remember anything. I do remember that I did enjoy it and it had like a good audiobook, but nothing rather than that. That's it. Like, it's completely blank in my mind. So it's a good book. Probably there are lots of quotations that you can highlight. It would give you a good feeling, but not that much of an impact, probably. Okay, the second book that I had this year was Darling Girls. I do remember this one in particular because I remember that there was an orphanage and there were like a bunch of people who were dead there. I hope that I remember it correctly. And then there were a bunch of bodies who were found and they were contacting the girls. It had lots of plot twists in it. It was not like a very mind-blowing book, but it was an interesting thriller. Next, I had Emery Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. Okay, this was nice. It was better than the last Emery Henry book that I had read, the pink one. I don't even remember the name, but I remember that it was like Emery Henry trying to be Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I got it like the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but like shoved into an Emily Henry book. I still enjoyed how it was written and every like part of the story, but to be honest, Emily Henry didn't do a good job being Taylor Jenkins Reid, so that part was still to me, but it was a nice book. So I do remember it at least. I know what was the story about, and I do have like a vague memory that it was like kind of like 2 books at the same time because there were a bunch of interviews, so you were having your time and there were like a plot twist, is it like a so like a mystery thing going on that you were like waiting to hear, but that wasn't that mind-blowing either. Next we have The Golden Couple. Honestly, I don't remember anything about this book. It is probably a good thriller, but I don't remember anything. So next, there is The Wedding People. This one I loved. I remember that the book was about a girl who has decided to commit suicide, but then she goes to this hotel and it's a wedding going on there, and the bride understands what the girl is trying to do, and then she freaks out because it's her wedding and every other person in that hotel is just a guest there. So it was very interesting. It had good healthy relationship building. It had post-COVID-19 procedure, which I really liked. It had mental health, it had everything. It was like, I remember I was going through a breakup during that time that I was listening to this book, and I remember going to the gym and just trying to do some walks and do some stairs, and I was listening to this book, and the effect that it had on me, the amount of light that it gave to my heart was so much. So I actually liked it, and I do suggest it. I think it was a good book. Then there is She Didn't See It Coming. I don't remember anything about it. To be honest, like, it's a very vague memory. It was probably a nice thriller mystery book, but nothing at all. Next on my list, I have Don't Let Him In. Okay, about this, I do remember that it had a very, very bad male character that I disgusted. I felt the chill in my body whenever he was described, and I remember that he had this bad mindset, and I didn't like it. So at least it had good character building. That one I could say, because it is in my mind. The feelings that I experienced through this book is still in my mind. But I don't remember about the story, not that much. I remember there was a man who was lying to many people. There was a restaurant going on, and then he wanted to kind of like lure the woman in that restaurant. I actually do remember. So maybe the story was a bit more impactful than I thought. But it wasn't like that great book, but I remember it. Oh, that says something. Then there is The Boyfriend. This one I do remember, to be honest. It had lots of gory pictures, and there were so many things going on about blood, about any sort of like internal organs, and the things that the boyfriend was thinking. So it was impactful in that sense, but not in a good way, like in a gory way. No. Then there is The Good Lie by A.R. Torre. This one I remembered that I had a good time. So it was a good thriller, but I don't remember anything. It's probably one of those thrillers that I have just and like read in one single sitting and never thought back about it. So yeah, I don't remember anything about it, to be honest. Then I had The Women, actually, by Kristen Hanna. This one was a nice book. I do remember it, actually. It's the main character in this book goes to become a nurse in Vietnam War, but then it was like, I think none of the people in her family were supporting her, and then when she came back there were lots of things going on, and it was really impactful in terms of like how women do have their effects in the society, but they are never valued, and it's just, it seems that nothing was built for women back in those days, and I am really grateful for all the changes that has happened during these times. So yeah, this one was a good book. The audiobook was awesome. I remember enjoying, I think it was Julia Whelan, the narrator, so I remember enjoying it a lot, and I do suggest it. Then there was Julia Chen is Dead. This was the most bunny-like book that I read last year, so it was interesting. The story, the premise, I do remember it, and it was interesting, but I skip it for the sake of time because I only have 1 minute. There is We Were Liars. This one was also an interesting book. It was unexpected for me, and the reason that I did read it was actually because there was a series going on in Prime. I think it was Prime, so I wanted to watch the series, but I wanted to read the book first. Okay, my last 3 books comes to The Academy, and Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers and Famous by Blake Crouch. All three I did like, and I do remember all three of them. Specifically, if I wanted to suggest one of these three, would be Vera Wong's book. That one was like the very first time that I experienced this type of cozy mystery vibe going in a book, that it was mostly like heartwarming, but still it was funny in some sort of a dark way. Like I remember that Vera Wong had like a cafe, like a Chinese cafe, but there was a murder going on there, but then she was like, okay, police are coming, I have to clean the scene. It was like very random, but it was really funny. I remember laughing out loud in some parts of the book, so I do suggest it very much. If there is like one book that you wanted to like give you the heartwarming but yet give it the mystery vibe, this would be the one. Then there was like Famous. On Famous, I do remember that it was like a short book, so that was the reason that I picked it. I just wanted to fill my books of the year, so it was like the very last month of the year, I remember. And it was a person who was very similar to an actor, so he was kind of like disguising as the actor, and it had like an interesting idea, but I didn't like the ending particularly, but it was nice. And finally, The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand. I think this one was very Gossip Girly vibe, but I did like it, not gonna lie. It was a very easy book to go through, but the problem with this one is that like it ends somewhere in the middle, so you don't get the fulfilling ending that you are looking for. I think there will be like a second book coming this year, so I cannot say anything unless I have read that one. But for now, I didn't like it that much. Maybe after the second book my idea would change, but it's so like so if I want to give you like the final suggestions of all the books based on these reviews that I did have, I would suggest The Wedding People. Definitely go for that. Then Julia Chen is Dead, if you want a bunny style vibe, like a cultish vibe. And then Christine Hanna's book, The Women, and Vera Wang's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. These would be the first suggestions that I have. Thank you for coming along this far, and I hope that it was nice, like you could enjoy, and I would love to hear about the books that you have read last year. I don't know why at this time of the year I'm coming to do a review of the last year, but I am trying to build some small baby steps and maybe share more here and find new people here as well. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.